Well, I grew up around family members that really love to hunt, and of course growing up in the South, it's something that's just expected of a lot of people to do. And I did really enjoy it. I enjoyed scouting, I enjoyed the adrenaline and everything of it, so I guess hunting is kind of like growing up, is what it means to me.
Hunting to me means getting in touch with nature, being able to spend time out in the woods, most natural setting. The opportunity to hunt is to provide food for yourself, and plus it's very enjoyable to do that.
Without trying to sound cliche, hunting's my life. Hunting, fishing, family, and not always in that order. That's my life. Hunting to some people means to go shoot something every time you go, and to me, just sitting here on the edge of the water, listening to the leaves fall, the wind blow, occasionally a car passes by. Have to tolerate that when you're in the woods, but that's hunting. Hunting life. Hunting the meaning of life. That's cliche, right? But every time you go to the woods, you get a chance to reboot your system and just sit still and watch nature and reboot the system. As we say that, a tree limb falls.
Don't kill too many. Don't get greedy. Don't kill animals that, or kill the deer that don't necessarily need to be killed, like does, for instance, or yearlings especially. Don't kill just because you want to.
Sustainable. Okay, so there are limits on how much you can harvest, and the state of Alabama controls that. So I'm not a landowner, but landowners have certain privileges of how many deer they can take, how many does versus bucks. So that makes it sustainable, and the state keeps records of that, so they can manage the harvest, is what they call it, and also maintain the herd across the state of Alabama, so it's not overhunted.
Well, personally, overhunting a deer is not going to be a problem for me. I haven't shot a deer, harvested a deer since 2009. I make sure it's sustainable because through my career choice to be a teacher, I'm able to teach hunter education 4 times a year in my safety ed class, and there's a lot of students that take the class and never knew anything about it and want to start hunting and learn about it, learn how to do it correctly or ethically and humanely, being one of the biggest things. But we have to educate people on why we do it in order to keep it sustainable, and that we don't just do it to say we're out killing something. As a way of life and something we enjoy doing, and sometimes it's hard to convince people when they believe otherwise.
I think that when done ethically, it's a fine practice, and by ethically I mean don't kill animals just for fun and throw their bodies off to the side for other animals to eat. Don't, just chop their heads off and take the antlers, take the meat, harvest as much as you can, and just don't kill for fun. So, what was the question again?
Do you think hunting is something that should still be done today?
Yes. Ethically, I think so. When it is done ethically, I mean. And it is a practice that a lot of people grew up on and a lot of people still enjoy, and we can't completely get rid of hunting because it is a lot of people as a part of their culture. So I think that it should be practiced as long as it's done in a humane way.
Absolutely. It's a privilege, and I would say a right to do so. People that own land have the right to do that, and it's a good thing. If deer are overpopulated, they will starve to death. So it's good to take deer. Plus, it provides food for a lot of people. A lot of people, it becomes very much like fishing or hunting. It's a sport. It's enjoyed by many people. Plus, it provides food for them.
Of course, hunting has to be done. If we don't, the wildlife, deer in particular in this part of the country, will take over the habitat. We can't all be conservatives, or conservatives of nature, I should say. Although conservation is a big part of hunting, but we have to control the habitat, because a population of deer can wipe out one man's garden, one man's field of beans and corn that he makes a living on in a matter of no time. So, not to mention the thousands, if not millions of dollars we save each year on car insurance. Insurance companies love us deer hunters because they're not running out in front of cars and causing damage that could possibly total someone's vehicle. So the more we harvest, the less car accidents they have, the less corn and less gardens they're eating, and it provides for other people's way of life by us shooting a few deer every now and then.
When I used to hunt, I don't anymore, I would feel nervous, and I would also feel excited just watching, most of the animals just come out, not necessarily a deer. But like I said, I like scouting, I like doing all of those things prior, so I would feel very at peace with nature, and of course I would feel that adrenaline and that nervousness whenever I did finally kill a deer. So I would say it was mostly positive.
Total relaxation. No job, no pressure, nothing. You sitting quietly in the woods at first light is the best, and also at dusk. And you become very much in touch with nature.
Well, the old saying is, when what do you feel when you shoot a deer? Most people say recoil from the gun, but I'm not that type hunter. I feel like I'm one with nature. It's a time to, as I said earlier, reboot your system. Think about life. Think about where you're going in life, where you've been, who you've been there with. And I've got a lot of great memories hunting. Every year brings forth different memories, different friends, different friendships, different memories with those friends. And not to mention the 10 or 12 years with a kid sitting next to me in the stand is just something that every time I go hunting I think about that and those memories, and what would they have done when they were 8 years old, when they would see a deer. What would they do? What would they currently do if we went back to that time? Yes.
So you made the choice not to shoot that deer. Elaborate on that.
Yeah, that deer was too small. I may not have even shot that if I'd never shot a deer in my life. I hadn't shot that many deer, but I'm not just out there to say, hey, I shot a deer today. We got a couple of kids in the camps, never shot a buck or even shot a deer. And that's a perfect deer for a kid to shoot for the first time, if someone chooses to bring them hunting and let them.
So do you think that's the ethical side of hunting?
That is the very ethical side of hunting, because there's a lot of people that would have shot that deer and never thought twice about it. But once again, everybody has their own philosophy about hunting, and you can't really argue with it. It's like politics. You want to start arguing, everybody thinks they're right, what they believe in. So, and sometimes you don't know that person's situation. They may need the deer to put food on the table. But most of the time, if you got the money to hunt, you got money to put food on the table, other than hunting.